Okay, so here are some exercises on files. So in CoCalc, you'll find a file called prideandprejudice.txt, and it's in a folder, Pride and Prejudice, and I distributed it as a handout yesterday. So I want you to create a Jupyter notebook in that folder, write a program to read the contents of the file line by line into a list called lines. In the reading loop, count the number of lines you read. Compare this with the length of lines you get from the ln function. Okay, stop the video, do your thing, come back here when you're done, okay? Okay, you're back, so I assume you've done your work. First thing we do is create a file handle, call it fh. And I create that with the open command, prideandprejudice.txt, and open it for reading. Then I initialize the count to 0, and I initialize the list to an empty list called lines, and then for every line in the file handle, lines.append of line, and count equal count plus 1. So I add the current line onto the list of lines, and I add 1 to the count of lines. Then after I'm done, fh.close. It's a good form to always close your files when you're done reading them. Then I calculate the length of lines. It's 13,427, and I print count. It's also 13,427. Okay, so that's how many lines there are in this book. Okay, what's the type of an item in the list? Okay, stop the video, do your work. This is a very simple thing. Just look at item 0 in the list. Okay, you're back. I assume you've done your work. So I took the type of lines of 0, and I see that what it is, it's a string. So every one of the lines in that list is a string. Let's look at the next exercise. What is the average length of a line? Again, we're going to use this system of accumulation that we learned in working with lists. This set of exercises is really more about lists than it is about lines, or than it is about files. So anyway, do your work, come back when you're done, okay? So you're back, I assume you're done, and we begin by creating the total to 0, and then we say for line and lines, total is total plus the length of the line, and then the average length after we finish the loop is the total divided by count, which we created in a previous cell. And then we print the average length, and it's 52.4. So there are an average of 52 some characters in a single line in this text. How many lines have length 0? Okay, go ahead and do that and come back when you're done. Stop the video, do your work, and come back. Okay, you're back. I assume you've done your work. Total is 0 for line and lines. If the length of the line is 0, add 1 to total and print total when you're done. And there were 0 lines of length 0. Okay. How many lines have length 1? Do your work, minor modification of the previous code, and after you're done, come back here. Okay, you're back. I assume you've done your work. Again, code looks exactly the same. The only difference is that we're adding 1 to total if the length of the line is equal to 1. And we print the total when we're done. 2,394 lines have length 1. That's not a very long line. Okay, create a list short lines of all the lines with length 1. What's in these lines? Look at the first 3 by printing them out character by character. Okay, stop the video, do your work, then come back. Okay, you're back. I assume you've done your work. So short lines is the empty list. Then for line in lines, if the length of the line is 1, append that particular line to short lines. Okay, so after this we've got a list of lines, all of which have length 1. Then we're going to do this for the first 3 of those things. For I in range of 3, print line, comma, I, so we have a label to look at things. Then for j in short lines of I, print j. So this j will be a character in short lines, so there should only be one thing in short lines, in a short line. And then we print another label for end of line I, and then we print a blank space. And this is what it looks like. And you swear that these are empty lines. So why aren't they really empty lines? Well, the reason is that the single character in these lines of length 1 is simply a new line character. Every line will have a new line character at the end. So exercise 7. Consider a word to be defined as any sequence of non-blank characters separated by white space. Create a list of all the words in the file and use the string method split. Then print out the first 100 words in the list of words and print the length of the list of words. Okay, this is a fairly long exercise, so go to work on that and come back after you're done. Stop the video now, of course. Come back when you're done. Okay, you're back. Assume you've done your work. So we start off with an empty list, and then we go through the lines. For every line in lines, we create L words, which is line.split, and L words will be a list. Then for word in L words, words.append of word. Okay, there's no significance to the word, to the variable name words. It could have meant anything. Then when you're done with this, you have a list of every word that appeared in the entire text. So for now we're going to print out the first 100 for I in range of 100. Print words of I, and of course this is words 0. And here are the first 100 words. And you can see the basic information from Project Gutenberg. Okay, so that was really more of an exercise in lists than it was in files. So we'll do a little bit more with files later. I've got some other material that I want to subject you to in files. Last exercise, count the number of occurrences of the word and in the list of words. Be sure to allow for capitalization. What fraction of all the words is this? And here I've just done the exercise for you. Forgot to put an answer in here, but that's okay. So we do this by setting count equal to 0. And obviously when we're done, this is going to be the count of the word and, either capitalized or not. So for every word in the list of words, if the lower of that word is equal to and that's the way we take care of possibly having a capital AND, we add 1 to count, and then the printed number of ands is count. The number of ands is 3,398. And the fraction of ands is that count divided by the length of the list of words. So the fraction of ands is 0.027. Okay, how does that compare with your speech? Is if you look at something you wrote, do you think you'd find a little less than 3% of the words that you wrote are the word and? Okay, that's the end of the video exercises.